Hey nerds, welcome to Flash, Theories, and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd. So this week we had the first episode back from the mid-season hiatus, and this was the pickup off that cliffhanger where Barry gets arrested for the murder of DeVoe. And it was a great episode. That was probably the fastest murder case in legal history. It's mind-boggling how fast that was, and yeah, very surprising. But all in all, this was a really good episode. Not too much to talk about here, but first I did want to mention that moment between Ralph and Joe where Joe asks Ralph to break him in so he can plant evidence. And obviously this is a mirror of what Ralph did, and that was just a great moment. I'm glad they gave that moment to Ralph where he got to talk some sense into Joe, because that was... yeah, that was an important thing, and it really kind of, we can really see the change in Ralph as he's been a part of this team, and it also lets us know a little bit about what he went through. So that was great. Next, the big character for this week, and this was the villain of the week, Fallout. He's an interesting character from the comics. He doesn't have too much going on with him, but he was basically a handyman who was working at a nuclear facility when there was an accident, and he became essentially irradiated, like you see. He didn't know what had happened to him. He didn't know that he was hurting people around him, and because of it, his family got killed. When he realized this, he turned himself into Iron Heights prison, and while there, unbeknownst to anyone, the prison basically turned him into a battery, and they were experimenting on him and draining his power in order to power the jail. Well, once the Flash found out, he put a stop to it. But yeah, all in all, Fallout's not a bad guy, and I think they did a pretty good job of showing this, because he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what to do. He wasn't necessarily fighting the team. It was just more the effects of his metagene that were, they were having to deal with. And so that was, I thought they did a good job representing him on the show. Now, it should be known that he basically lives at Iron Heights full time. He considers it his home because he doesn't want to be somewhere, where he's going to hurt people. He's not a bad guy. It's just that situation that happened to him. So the last thing, though, this episode, we saw this new ability of Barry's where he could essentially pull people into the time dilation of the Speed Force. It was very cool, and I could see this coming up as a way of, we need to make a plan real quick, but we don't have time, and so they use this in order to have quick conversations without people knowing. But it was cool. It was a very cool effect, and it was very well used. And I'm glad. You knew they were never going to go down the route of Barry telling or revealing who he was, but I felt like there was a possibility he would at least tell the head, the chief. But I'm glad they didn't. They didn't need to. I prefer they find the tough way out of proving Barry's innocence and not having to just be like, oh, I couldn't have done it, I'm the Flash, because that shouldn't be a get out of jail free card. And so I'm glad they didn't go that way. But what did you guys think of the episode? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other theories, Supergirl and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So until next week, guys, I'm Brian, and this has been Flash, Theories, and Conspiracies.